I do in my business.
Sorry, I don't
No,
mean
it's
that.
okay. No, that's okay. And actually, I'm going to join on the computer really quick here. I don't know if you just.
Recording in progress.
All right.
Uh-oh.
One second. Got the echo.
Okay, can we still hear me?
You
Good?
can, even better.
Sorry about that. Okay, so yeah, for me, like social media is super important, and I think that when it comes to a lot of realtors, like you got to play the part as a loan officer to help gain exposure. And I think I talked to so many loan officers that they don't ever go after their own business. Like that one to me is always like kind of confusing. Like I'll talk to a loan officer, be like, hey, what are you doing to help out your realtor partners? Like, how are you getting them business? And most times they're like, well, we go after when we close a loan with them, we have a really good referral program where we'll call them and we get referrals for our realtors and all that stuff. And like, if that's all you're leading with, I think you're dropping the ball, because any good agent's going to already have that system in place. And I think there's a lot of things in the loan officer universe that a good agent assumes is like the bar. You know what I mean? Like there's so many times I'm told about some programs and we can close in 10 days and we can call your past clients and we can do this. We have HomeBot, we have this, we have that. And it's like, yeah, but so is everybody else. You know what I mean? Like that's not, I think to some maybe inexperienced agents like that haven't heard that stuff before, I think that that's a great like follow-up piece or something like that. Hey, we do all this stuff as well. But if you're trying to get in front of like a team or a really top producing agent, I think at the end of the day, it's going to come down to like, what are you doing to create your own business? Like, and maybe you don't have any leads to give. That's fine. But are you trying? Are you doing things? Are you promoting your business partners stuff via email, social media? Are you supporting them in any events that they're doing? And that doesn't always mean financially. That just means, hey, like I'll be there. I'll bring a table, some chairs, whatever. Like I think knowing that that person is doing things for you that could result in more business is really important.
Probably
Versus
because it's a little bit of a drag that we're just sitting here looking with our hand out to the agent going, gosh, you got any referrals that we could work on together?
right, like and I don't want it to come off like that's all I care about. Like, because there's way more, I think, to having a long lasting relationship with a loan officer. You got to like the person. You have to have similar interests. Like if you're trying to force a relationship with somebody and they're this person that goes and drinks White Claw all the time on the lake and they're drunk 24/7, but you don't drink, like probably not going to work. You know what I mean? Like it just like don't fake something. Like I think you really have to find the people that are like you and then like go like super deep with them. And just like solve their problems. Don't tell them what you have to offer. Like, a lot of loan officers are like, well, what are you missing in your business? What are you looking for? And it's like, I think a lot of loan officers ask that probably the same reason I ask it, which is I hope that they ask me that question back so then I can tell them that I need more reciprocation in my business. But I think if you're genuinely asking that question and you actually want to solve that person's problems and will implement some sort of tool or action on a routine basis, like those are the things that stand out to us. And so I know I'm kind of getting off on a tangent, but
No, it's good.
like the other thing that's amazing to me is I will have loan officers reach out all the time. And, if it's somebody that you want to do business with, more than likely they're really busy, and it's probably not, they're probably not like lying about that. They're probably really busy. And so sometimes people will reach out and I was like, hey, I appreciate you reaching out. Let's get together. But like, that's all we're going to do. We're just going to get together this one time so we can get to know each other. Right. I'm not going to commit to a bunch of other stuff right now. And at that meeting, every single time, if I think they're like kind of cool, and I think I could do some business with them, I'm just like, hey, here's what I ask of you. right now, like, obviously, I'm not saying you got to send me a bunch of leads and all that stuff, but if you could just do me a favor, because I kind of forget sometimes who I need to send my next deal to. If you could just send me like an email or a text once a week forever, that'd be fantastic. Like, I literally say this to people and nobody does it. Like, they'll do it for like 2 weeks.
So
And
just
I'm
send you a text.
just like being a friend, right? Like, hey,
Yeah.
how's
Yeah.
the week? I just want to let you know, like, cause I know why they're reaching out. You guys don't have to disguise it. Like, I get it. We're trying to do business together. So, but if you're like, so if I see a message from Brian, it's like, hey man, hope all's well. I saw your Facebook video the other day. Looks like Jamie, my son, is doing great in football or something. Like, if I at that point in time told Brian to follow up with me for the specific reason of I want to stay in touch with you for business purposes, to me that's all I need. And if I get that, and now, oh, a buyer just came in my head, I'm giving it to Brian, because yes, we have our partners that we partner with, but we can't give everything to our partners. Like, you have to have multiple people. And so I think it's just the simple stuff sometimes that us realtors and loan officers kind of overlook, where it's like, just stay in front of, just literally send them a message. You would think that realtors like myself or other really successful agents are getting like hit up all the time and bothered and texted and called and all that stuff. Not really.
Really?
Like, I mean,
Like,
a
how
little,
many
like,
lenders will call you in a week?
maybe one.
Okay.
Like, they're not, because nobody wants to put in the effort. They just assume like, well, if I don't have a lead to give, or if I don't have this, if I don't have that, then what's my worth? And it's like, sometimes it's just like a common person to bounce ideas off of, or,
Right.
you know, but that's where it's like, you got to find the people that are like you and like pour into somebody without any really need of something in return. Like, just build that relationship, and then good things will come if you bet on the right horse. You know what I mean?
Sure. Well, and so you built up your business. You got a 12-person team. You're over $50 million last year. We're going to blow those numbers out of the water. That's one type of agent that some people go, man, I'm not even gonna approach that person. But you do have people on your team that are relatively new. What would you say the advice is to if somebody says, hey, I want to reach out to that person that's newer in the business? What would the approach be that you would suggest that you hear from your agents to go, this is what I need? It might be different than what Tyler needs. He's got 4 that will jump anywhere. What do those new people need?
Well, again, I think so. I always think about this. If I was a loan officer, what's like the first thing I would do? I personally would I'd find some way to generate some internet leads or something. Like, there's got to be, I don't know what systems you guys have on your end, but like, you know, we have systems on our end. I could literally go and get 200 leads tomorrow for like $50. Right? Like, they're not the best leads in the world, but they're something. Like, they're out there. And so I just think when the rarity that it is that a loan officer sends a lead, when it happens, it's like, wow, I'm going to hold on to this person for forever. You know what I mean? And so if you can find a way to somehow generate some sort of business on your own for a couple $100, us realtors do not need a gift wrapped, ready to close through underwriting buyer. Okay. Like, yeah, we love that. That's great, but we don't need it. And I think the people that you want to partner with are the ones that will go into those trenches with you and like, hey, let's both prospect this list together. Let's go after them. I'll even come over to the office. We're going to call through them together or something. I don't know. You know, like, those are the things that for me would move the needle. And for newer agents too, like, because they're all terrified of not having money. You know, so it's like, hey, if anybody can help me with that, that'd be great. But other than that, which I think is a huge piece, other than that, it's like, you know, volunteering to do the open houses with them and just being there to maybe do a home buyer workshop, or even coming to them with an idea for like a fun social media video you guys can do together. Maybe another thing that's helpful sometimes, because what we need from you is like different ways so that we can reach out to people with a different message sometimes. And so it's like, maybe you guys come up with some sort of promotion where, hey, this month we're doing free appraisals, or we're gonna both go in on a home warranty for any buyer that purchases a home within the next month or something like that. And now you go and you blast that all over social media, you send it out to your databases, and then you do some sort of event together. And just a little one, like a online home buyer workshop, like in a Zoom like this or something. I think there's a huge market for that. I've been begging my team members to do it for like a year now. Because getting people to show up to an event is tough. Everybody's so busy, but if you can do a Zoom or a webinar or something with that realtor partner and just be there as a resource, you get, you'll have your 10-minute spiel about where the market's at, where rates are at, programs that you can do. And then again, just stay in touch with that agent every week. Like, you will have a good business partner,
Yeah. So you've obviously got your agent that, or your loan officers that you work with that, hey man, this is my guy. What does it take to sustain that? Like, what do you still look from? I mean, I kind of know who your guy is. So what does it take to keep that as still a great partnership?
Well, so it's funny you bring that up. You know the guy, and I will say that we're not really doing much business together right now. And where that has kind of fallen off has been there has been no reciprocation. The market's been really hard, right? And so I think one, having somebody that's your friend and that you get along with is like so important. But what we've both started to figure out is like, if the only reason we're getting together constantly is that we're just hanging out as being friends, it kind of loses its luster a little bit, because like, we all have families, we're all busy, we're all different stages of our life. So we're not going to constantly take time from our families to go hang out with our loan officer buddy. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, friendship's important, but it needs to make business sense. And so, why that one has been so good is there's been a bunch of opportunities that have come with it. I've had new construction opportunities. I've had, just lots of business from that particular group of people over the years. But now the people we're sending a lot of our business to are the ones helping us pay for things, helping us pay for Zillow, helping us pay for Realtor.com. For me, it's I think knowing that we have the loan officer is part of like a team, I think is really important too. Knowing that if we did come across 30 internet leads that we need called and prospected and followed up with, that the loan officer that I have is able to handle that.
Right.
So I would tell you guys, for sure, be sure that you're talking with your realtor partners about all the resources that Brian has provided for you guys, and the fact that I'm guessing you guys can kind of help each other out at times, or maybe you have other employees at the bank there that can help with prospecting or the systems you have. Like, all those things are super important.
Yeah.
Because if I'm going to take this big account or something, or all these leads and give them to somebody, I got to know that they're going to get followed up with. And that was where the person that I have been using for a long time, that's not their strong suit. They just don't really have much backup. It's just,
Perfect. Well, we got a question on here that says, when I do open houses, I do like 3 or 4 a weekend. Would it offend you as an agent to see me posting about other agents as well? I'm hesitant to do it because I don't want to hurt their feelings.
No, I think, and that's, so the only way I would be offended is if I had sent you like 10 deals in the last month, and been like, hey, I'm literally sending all my business to you, and you need to kind of commit, you need to commit. But that's not reality. I think most of us are aware that, I know there's a lot of realtors that their strategy is to have like, 30, 40 lender partners or whatever. Like, for me, it's always been, I want like 3 good ones I can count on, and on your side, I know you probably have to have like 10 times that, maybe 5 times that. You got to have, some realtor partners and stuff. And I think any successful real estate agent would totally understand that. And I think you just have to be honest and upfront with them, and be like, hey, like, I'm going to get you the lion's share of the business that I do have, but I have to have other partners unless you can send me 30 plus deals a year.
Sure.
right? And
Yep, absolutely.
that's just being truthful. I don't think you should ever promise to a realtor that they're getting all your business. Because it's just not true. And then you kind of strap yourself in a bad spot too, where you know you keep sending all this business to this realtor, but they're not giving you anything in return.
Mhm.
So no, I wouldn't be offended by it. I would appreciate the heads up, the first time, like, hey, I just want you to know, man, I love what you're doing for me as my realtor partner, but I need to do more open houses, so I got to help promote that as well. But if you have more opens, I want to get in with you.
Okay.
Like you're my first and foremost option. Like I think if they know that, if they're your go-to, then they'll be understanding.
Okay. What about marketing events, joint events, things you do together? You already mentioned a couple things, but what do you think's been the best bang for your buck with your lender partner?
And when you say bang for your buck, do you mean like
Well, yeah.
generate business or
Yeah. What's gotten the most
or
business?
what's the most valuable like to me just as a partner?
Let's go that. Most valuable to you as a partner. Really meant a lot.
I think when the time comes that your realtor partner wants to do an event of any kind, a client appreciation event or whatever, an open house event, like a mega open house or a broker open even, to because those are going to start coming back, especially the next few months with houses sitting on the market. They're going to want to get realtors through there. And so it's like, I just think anytime you can step up for the events where the realtors are kind of putting themselves out there a little bit and not have to fly solo and like know that they have double the manpower because you guys are sending things out on their behalf as well. And it maybe paying for stuff, but not even paying really. It's just being there, I think. So we did like home buyer workshops back in the day at like the National Sports Center, and we'd get like 4 people, 2 people to show up maybe. Sometimes there was one person showing up. But like just knowing that loan officer was committed to being there and was like, I was going to have my team and my buddies with me no matter who showed up, was really impactful to me as well. So it's just putting in that sweat equity sometimes that like, this event, who knows how it's going to go, but I'm going to show up anyways,
Okay. That's good. So question at the topic of the day, you're talking to a lot of buyers right now, sellers. What's the flavor or the temperature on rates right now? Is it, it's killing us, or is it, what are you hearing?
I personally I think if people own a home, the conversation's different, you know what I mean? But if it's like people that don't own a house, most people have accepted their rates of where they're at right now. And we're not really getting much pushback on that.
Okay.
We bring up like the 2-1 buy downs, the 3-2-1 buy downs. Nobody seems to care because I think our clients are educated that they assume rates will be coming down hopefully in the next year. We don't know for sure. And I tell all them there's no guarantees, but they're just like, yeah, the buy down's not that important to us right now. We like where the market's at because there's no competition.
Yeah.
Like I've put more buyers under contract in the last month than I have in like the last 6 months. Just like, I don't know, I think there's some urgency to get in before winter right now. And so, but it's been nice. Like I just went and showed 2 houses, called the agent, no offers on it. I'm like, okay, cool. Like we're probably gonna get that accepted.
Like a normal offer.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay. Like, so like where buyers used to be this big like energy suck and like time suck because you'd show buyer houses for a year because they couldn't ever get an offer accepted. I think buyers are very attractive right now. Again, if you can convince them and help them understand that, hey, as long as you can afford the house, let's get it because the prices are going to stay somewhat stabilized until the rates drop. Once the rates drop, the prices are going to go crazy again. So we just got back from a conference in Vegas from our group at eXp, and we had Barry Habib on. I don't know if you guys follow him at all.
Yep.
But he talked about something that I thought was really important, and that was like lifestyle interest rate. So his slide was like, do you really have a 3% interest rate on your house? Question mark. And it was basically like, well, no, you really don't have a 3% rate because you also have credit card debt, you have car payment, and you have student loans. So your interest rate is actually like 8%. So what if we sold your house, took the equity out of there, paid off all the other bullshit, and yeah, now your interest rate in your house is 7%, but your lifestyle interest rate has dropped because it's kind of like your debt to income conversation that you probably have. And it's stuff that I always talk about with my clients, but I've never been able to articulate like a cool way to say it, you know? And so I think explaining to buyers right now that it's not about your home interest rate. Does having a low interest rate on your house give you more things than everyone else? Does it make your life easier? No, it doesn't. What makes your life easier is having less money to come up with per month. So if we could get you into a house today and pay off all this other crap, and then in a year's time, you've gained 10% equity in your house because the rates have dropped, and then you refinance, wouldn't that be in a better position than what you're currently in?
No, that's good. I love it.
I think it's just changing the narrative of like, oh, I can't move, I got a low rate. No, you don't. You don't have that low of a rate.
Yeah.
Do you have car payments? Do you have this? Do you have that? Because you got $200,000 worth of equity right now, and you're rich on paper, but that doesn't do anything for you. You know what I mean?
Right. No, that's a great way to put it.
So when he talked about that, I was like, I think that's just a better way to explain it than what I was saying in the past. But yeah, I mean, there's gonna be people that aren't gonna move, and that's fine. But I think if you can help them see how to use their equity, I think that is the narrative I would go to, and really focus on asking questions, because like they want to say no, right? Like they don't want to say yes, they want to say no. All buyers and sellers, they just know their lines. It's no, not right now, F off, whatever it is. So it's asking questions they'll allow them to say no, but it actually helps them understand where they're at with like, oh yeah. I can't think of a good example off the top of my head right now, but you can ask it in a way where I don't know, does having a low interest rate guarantee that you have a lower monthly payment for your life than everyone else? Well, no.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
That's good.
How do you like if we could solve that?
Yeah. One of the questions came in here too is how do you get people to show up to your workshops and events?
Sorry, I just had a guy walk in.
That's right. We'll wrap it up and we'll open up just a couple
five
questions.
more minutes is fine. And then again, like if any of you guys want to reach out to me, I'm happy to talk to any of you guys, like anytime. So don't feel like you gotta only do it on a Zoom. The workshops are hard. Like it's hit and miss. I know the people that have had a lot of success over the years have said that they always have like food, like they serve like a breakfast or whatever, and then they're sending out a ton of mailers, like direct mail.
Yep.
I personally haven't had great success with having a ton of people show up. I will say anybody that shows up, you're going to close them. Like I'd say it's nearly 100% conversion,
Sure.
So it's like, I don't necessarily focus on the quantity. I just focus on doing them, because even if no one shows up, it gives me something to talk about and send out to my database so that when they're ready, they'll hopefully think of us, It's like, hey, I couldn't make
Plus
that
those
work.
people don't know. They don't know that nobody showed up.
Exactly. I think anybody that does it right can make it look like a bunch of people were there or whatever. But it is a little odd when it's like 5 people presenting and there's one person sitting there.
Right.
It's just like, okay. So yeah, but right now, if I had to do it all over again, because I haven't personally done one myself in a while, I would for sure do it online. I would not do it in person. I don't want to see anybody in person right now. I'm fine. I want to do it online. I think everybody else feels that way too. They're like, I'll just jump on a Zoom.
Yeah.
So I do it online, and I would record it in a system called Webinar Jam. Webinar Jam will allow you to host the webinar, and it's not like interactive. It's just you're talking. People can see you. They can ask questions in the chat, but they can't like chime in or if people leave or if they join, you can't see that either. So no one knows if there's no one on it or not. But why I say Webinar Jam is there's a way that you can record it so that you can have it be a live workshop whenever somebody wants to join it. You know, it could be 6 months down the road and they go to our webpage and it's like live webinar starts in an hour. They can click on it and it's going to seem like it's happening right now. So I just think better use of your time, you know.
Okay.
And it wasn't that expensive, Webinar Jam. It was pretty inexpensive for what it can do. And then the reason I like Webinar Jam is if you can get people to so if you talk about it on social media, you send it out via email, you send out mailers, whatever it is, and they join, you know, they register for the webinar. It has a lot of automated follow-up already in it, where it's like reminding them of the upcoming webinar and stuff. And then it sends out a reminder right on the day. It sends out the replay of it. Like it just does all this for you. So you don't have to worry about all that stuff.
Okay.
That's where I think we all fall short, is like the follow-up.
Follow-up. Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm respectful of your time, and I told these guys to maybe fire off some real quick, rapid question. Who's got a question for Tyler real quick, and you can just fire it back as fast as you can, Tyler. Anybody got a question?
Tyler. Yep, I do.
Hey, Tori.
Inventory. So you said your leads, your bot leads. Where do you find out of all of your sources? Do you like Realtor.com, Zillow, YLOPO, OpCity, Immersion Monster? Which ones are you finding the best leads for you right now that you would like a lender to contribute to?
Zillow.
Still?
Yeah.
Okay.
Zillow, and it's the most expensive.
Yep.
But they do convert, I think, better than any of them. So as a lender, the amount of money that you're going to be asked to spend on Zillow is not going to be worth it. But that's where, if you do all the other stuff I'm talking about, you will get their personal business too.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you have to be that squeaky wheel that's constantly, you know, being in their ear and trying to help out. You know, maybe you go talk at one of their meetings or like whatever you can do. Like we had one guy we joined up with for a little bit, and he reached out and met personally with every single one of my agents and helped them, like just learn a couple things of what they could do with their business. And it was just really cool. Like I didn't ask him to do that. But they all said they learned some things from him that me as a realtor was not teaching them. So it's like, if you ever decide to go in on leads with somebody, if you're just doing the math on that, it's never going to work out. Like they just don't convert at a high enough level. Especially if it's like, oh, I'll give it 6 months and I'll try, like you'll close one, maybe.
Right.
But if you go do it with the long
game, their foot in the door with your team though.
It absolutely got the foot in the door. And if you do it right, like, so we have a partner right now on Zillow. She sends us all of her leads right now. And I mean, she sent one last week that they wanted to see a house, and we went and saw it and they wrote an offer. It's like, I will use her forever because she's just giving us business. You know what I mean? And so, I know it's hard because a lot of your guys' business has realtors attached to it, you know, like the previous buyers and stuff like that. And you want to be loyal. But that's where I think it's really important to try to somehow foster your own leads so that you just have something to contribute, where people are gonna be like, that's more than what anyone else has ever done for me. I'm going to start sending you my family. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that, you know? And if you guys can position yourself to get in with a good team right now, I mean, once that refi market hits, I mean, you guys are going to be the go-to for them.
Sure. Who else? Anybody else got one more? Let's do one more. And I know you got to run, right? Go, Tyler.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike.
So you had mentioned Zillow. I assume you're referring to Zillow co-marketing, or is there some other form of Zillow lead you're buying?
Yeah, so we're on Zillow Premier, you know, the Premier agent like you guys are all used to. There's Zillow Flex, but I'm not eligible for that right now. There's only like 3 or 4 teams in the state that have that. But yeah, so it's just Zillow Premier. But the problem is like, it's just every zip code's so expensive. It's like $1,000 for 0.2 connections. And you're like, the hell? You know, so like you gotta find somebody who's willing to like buy enough zip codes that it makes sense. Otherwise it will be a waste of time. So if it wasn't Zillow, let me think of what the next best one, if I'm just going off of, like, we have a market VIP account, which is realtor.com, but again, that's expensive.
You ever do Facebook?
We've done Facebook. I haven't had luck with Facebook, but again, like if I'm you guys, that's the type of stuff I'm saying that I would do, like, because it's cheap. It's like $100, $200, run an ad, you'll get 20, 30 leads, and then you just go to all the agents that you want to be a part of, and you just give them the lead willingly. There's nothing in return. You just say, hey, I thought of you. I got this lead. You know, and be like real about it. Like, you know, they're starting out in the early stages, not quite sure where they're at with everything, but I thought that we could tag team this one and go back, prospect both sides of this, because sometimes they want to talk to a lender and sometimes they want to talk to a realtor. So, but those little things, like no one's doing that. Like no one is doing that stuff. And I promise you guys, if you do it to the right people, it's not going to break the bank, but it will give you that foot in the door. And then again, you just have to constantly follow up with them. You got to be just like, hey, just check. And now you have a reason to follow up too. Hey, just checking in on that lead. Did you hear from them yet? Because I haven't. Hey, let's get together and let's talk strategy about it. And like, as they get to know you better, you're just going to be the obvious choice for them. Like, they're just gonna be like, I can't stop seeing Tori. I can't stop seeing Mike. Like, they're everywhere. They comment on all my stuff. They text me once a week. They send me a lead once or twice a week. That's more than any lender's doing for us. Oh, and by the way, they want to do a home buyer workshop with me. Like, unless this realtor is a terrible person, they're going to send you something at some point.
Yeah. All right. I appreciate
So I hope
it.
that helps. And
It does.
you guys
No,
got
just taking the time out to help us out. I really appreciate
Yeah.
you doing that. And hopefully we got some tidbits out of it and take it to market.
Yeah, and feel free to message me, guys, if you have any other questions. I'm sorry, I just got to run, but you guys got a great leader in Brian, so just whatever he says, I mean, probably just do it.
I'll send you a check.
Yeah, that was at like $10.
Sounds good.
But all right, guys, have a wonderful day.
All right, thanks,
Thank
buddy.
you,
Take
sir.
care.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.